But unfortunately, peak hurricane season is also the time for peak travel season for so many people.
That's right. Our travel specialist, Pete Trabucco, joins us via Skype with tips on how to prevent your next vacation from being a washout. Good to see you this morning, Pete. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me on this one. I do appreciate it.
So one of the first tips sounds really obvious, but it's to check the weather. How far out should people be checking their forecast?
Well, obviously, at least a couple days before, but I tend to try to go at least a week or 2 weeks in advance. Of course, the National Weather Service. There are apps that you can get all the time. I think the Red Cross has a hurricane app if something like that is happening. There are so many things you can do with the computers now and with your cell phones in order to get that, taken care of, and not be a worry.
Hey, Pete, what do you think about travel insurance? A lot of times when we book these trips, that's one thing it's offered us. Should we take advantage of travel insurance?
Oh, absolutely. You know, if you're 35 and 59 years of age, let's say in New York or California, anywhere of those two places, which is the largest areas, it'll run you about maybe between $50 and $60 or $70 for you to actually do that. It varies from different locations and of course your age, but it is so well worth it. That way, if there's a problem, if the vacation is a bust, you can get reimbursed for that. Absolutely one of the best ways to go. Travel insurance is a must.
Yeah, better safe than sorry, right? But are the rules different whether you're flying out or maybe getting on a cruise?
It's a little bit different, but the cruise now, a cruise actually, when you're on a ship, they can actually still give you a great vacation, because what they'll do is they'll actually skirt all the storms, unless it's a really major hurricane within the area of where they're going. I would say that it's a much better deal during hurricane season, which I guess is June 1st, November 30th here in the Atlantic, that you actually book a cruise, because they can still make it a very nice vacation for you, and they don't cancel as easily as maybe the airlines or some of the hotels.
Pete, wonderful ideas, great advice. Thanks for being so generous with your time this morning. Certainly that can make a difference in a lot of people's summer plans.
I would love to go on a cruise. I've never done it, have you?
One time. Great experience, and unfortunately we got to cruise our way out of here. Thanks so much for watching AMHQ Weekend.
Maria LaRosa, Nick Walker up next on Weekend.
This is the time of year when we expect tropical activity to pick up in the Atlantic, but unfortunately peak hurricane season is also peak travel season for so many of us.
Yeah, and travel specialist Pete Trabucco joins us via Skype now with tips on how to prevent your next vacation from being a washout. Pete, thanks so much for joining us here this morning. One of the first tips, it sounds really obvious, but it's to check the weather. How far out should people be looking before their trip?
Well, you should be checking at least a week out. I also check a couple of days before. When Hurricane Sandy hit, of course, we pretty much knew about that. But the idea is to do it. Check with the National Hurricane Center, National Weather Service, and make sure that you are clear for flying or cruising or whatever you're doing. Very important.
What about travel insurance? I mean, are the rules different whether you're flying, maybe getting on a cruise?
Oh, they are different, actually. Travel insurance is a very good thing to have. There's a lot of companies out there, and for like a $1,500, $2,000 trip, it would cost maybe a person from 35 to 59 years old about $60 or $70. Well worth it. Now, cruise lines, it's a little bit easier because they can skirt through storms, maybe not a hurricane, but through storms, so they don't cancel as easy as the airlines or the hotels.
A lot of good things to keep in mind, and we appreciate you taking the time with us. Plan your vacation, but plan wisely.
Yeah, Pete Trabucco, appreciate it. And some good advice, things to keep in mind, too. We still have a lot of the summer travel season to go. So kind of interesting. I didn't even think about the cruise having that sort of advantage, if you will, that they can sort of skirt some of that bad weather.
Yeah.
Versus, you flying to a destination kind of being stuck there.
Great time to travel, but always watch the weather.